Booktube, I hope you're having a great day. Today's Tuesday, so I thought I would do a tag for you. And the tag that I'm going to be doing is the Booktuber Name Tag. And this tag was created by Aaron Read a Book, or Aaron Read a Book. And this is the 2025 edition. I believe he has another one of these from 2024, but the one I'll be doing is the 2025 version. So I think this is just such a clever tag. Basically, each of the prompts are the names of different booktuber channels. So each of the questions sort of tie into the theme of the name of the channels. And I also like it because I wasn't familiar with a lot of these channels previous to watching Aaron's video. So thank you, Aaron, for introducing me to these new booktubers and also for tagging me. So before we begin, I would just like to apologize for A, the lighting, B, the backdrop, and C, the fact that the camera looks a little bit wonky. I still haven't found my tripod. I still haven't unpacked a lot of things. So yeah, my camera is balanced precariously on quite a few books. The cats might come in and decide to have a cat fight. They've been very ornery with each other, and I'm kind of hungry, so my stomach might growl. So this could be a very terrible video. But anyways, we'll go ahead and make a start. And of course, the first prompt is Books and Bocadillos, a book which features or is about food. So yeah, my stomach might go at any minute. I don't read a lot of books about food or cuisine, but I do read a lot of medieval history. So of course I have a book on medieval cuisine. This is The Medieval Cookbook, and this is by Maggie Black. This was published by the British Museum, and it's just a collection of medieval recipes. When I first bought this book and I flipped through it, I'm not gonna lie, the recipes sounded a little bit revolting to me. For some reason, medieval folk liked to use cinnamon and cloves in a lot of dishes, savory, sweet, and I'm not sure how I feel about cinnamon with fish. So yeah, but having flipped through this again, some of these do actually sound really tasty. So we've got fried fig pastries. That sounds yummy. We've got Lombard chicken pasties, and I love a pasty, so that sounds scrummy. Some of these do sound a bit odd to me. There's pike and galantine. Initially I thought that was pike and gelatin, which no thanks, but I think galantine is actually like a creamy pepper sauce. I could be wrong, but that sounds like it could be good. And there's also like a section on medieval manners, medieval table manners, which is interesting. So yeah, if you're interested in medieval cooking, I suggest you pick this up. Who knows, I might try one of these recipes one of these days. So anyways, that was Books and Bocadillos, a book which features or is about food. So the next prompt is genre books, a book in a genre you don't normally read. Okay, so prior to last year, I didn't read a lot of sci-fi, but I did read a lot of Kurt Vonnegut, a lot of his later stuff. If you are familiar with him, his later stuff is basically more of a collection of musings or thoughts which are loosely tied together into what can barely be called a plot. I love it, but his earlier stuff had a lot more of a cohesive plot, and the book that I've selected is The Sirens of Titan, and I believe this was published in the late 50s. Can you hear my cat? Sorry, he's got the zoomies. So yeah, this was published in 1959, and basically it's about a guy who's like stuck in this space-time continuum, and he basically travels from place to place, and only ends up on Earth for like, I think 40 minutes to an hour every month. And like all of Kurt Vonnegut stuff, it's weird, it's wacky, but I remember really enjoying this because all of the characters are so well developed. They do dubious things. None of them are perfect characters. Some of them do things which are morally reprehensible, but at the same time, you really feel for them in this book. I remember just feeling, being brought down to the depths of sorrow and feeling joy at different parts of this book. This was just so wonderfully written. What a great piece of sci-fi. in my opinion. Like I say, I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but yeah, I thought this was a fantastic book. Again, this is Sirens of Titan. So moving on. The next prompt is Bookstalgic, a book that makes you feel nostalgic. So for this, I chose the very first copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula that I ever bought. This book is almost, well, it is over 20 years old now. I bought this book when I was a teenager, and I just love this book. I love this copy of this book. I remember reading this for the first time. It was twilight in my bedroom, and as the sun was setting, I got to the chapter where the Demeter pulls into Whitby Bay, and I just remember the way that Stoker had described the scenery and the ambiance, just coupled with the time I was reading it. It was, I remember it to this moment, how I felt. Everything about that book just reminds me of being in that moment. And yeah, this was one of the first books that I bought when I really started to read for pleasure. So yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula makes me feel nostalgic. Boilers come on now, so sorry. More distractions. The next prompt is book, songs, and other magic. I love Gareth's channel, by the way. So this prompt is a book about music or features music or is about magic. Sorry, I just butchered that prompt. Bonus point for musical magic. So I don't read a lot of books about music, but I do like books about magic. And the book that I chose for you is The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Kornicek. This is basically a retelling of Angerboda, the Norse giantess in Norse mythology, who is the consort of Loki. Their children play a key part in Ragnarok. And basically she's a witch in this. Nobody likes her. Odin doesn't like her. Everyone's trying to kill her. There's a lot of love in this book, though. It's very clever, it's very witty. I think this was a fantastic retelling. I just thought this was a fantastic book. This was a 5-star read for me. Pick it up if you want, if you're looking for some Norse retelling or, you know, just a great book. So yeah. The next prompt is Passage of Time, a book that is set over a long time frame. I wish that I had the book that my grandfather lent me when I was a teenager called Sarum by Rutherford, I want to say. And Sarum is just a book that is set on the Salisbury Plain, and it is a piece that follows this family and their descendants from the prehistoric period all the way up until the mid-20th century. I don't have this book, so I'll just show you some of the books that I do have. And of course, some cheating, giving you 2 books. And I'm cheating furthermore because this first book, I think, technically doesn't count because this isn't like a continuous sweeping passage from one time period to the other. This is basically about almost like time travel, I think. But anyways, this is called The Gargoyle by Andrew Davidson. And spoiler alert, I'll give you a mini spoiler. Basically, there's this guy who wakes up in hospital, and there's this weird, wacky woman sitting on the edge of his bed, and she's like, "We've known each other for a long time. You and I are soulmates." And he's like, "Yeah, get lost, lady." But basically, this is a wonderful love story. They've known each other since, I want to say, like the 15th century. But what I love about this book, it's wonderfully descriptive. There's vignettes in this story, which I think is loosely based off of the main characters, but it's like love stories from different time periods. I just think this is a fantastic book about, yeah, time travel, love across time, star-crossed lovers. So yeah. One of the books that I think will fit the prompt better more closely is Dan Jones' Powers and Thrones, and of course I can't get through a single video without featuring a Dan Jones book, but what can I say, I love his stuff. This is Powers and Thrones, if I haven't mentioned it yet, and this is a a book that covers the full period of the Middle Ages, from the fall of the Roman Empire to the Age of Discovery. And this was published recently, like 2021. And Dan Jones just has levity to his writing. It's not dense history, if you're not into that. I think he's a very entertaining writer while still maintaining, his academic, scholastic edge. But yeah, if you're looking for a piece that covers the whole Middle Ages, this is a great starting point. So yeah. Moving on, Your True Shelf, a book that you couldn't believe was a true story. Again, I think I'm kind of cheating here with the prompts, but I really had to dig deep for this one. So I chose Lee Berger's Almost Human. Lee Berger is a paleoanthropologist in South Africa, and why I chose this, basically he found a new cave system in I want to say 2013, and as they were exploring this cave, they found a chamber that contained hominin bones. Hominins being our family ancestors, so humans, Neanderthals, etc. But this species of hominin, it's pretty unbelievable. So they classified them as within the same family as us, as humans, despite the fact that the skeleton, the cranial capacity was very small, something that you would see in much more ancient hominin ancestors, so like Australopithecines, Lucy, for instance. But despite that, this human had a mosaic of features which were very similar to humans. They were bipedal, but they also had a lot of postcranial features which suggested that bipedalism wasn't their only form of locomotion. They have hands and arm morphology, which suggests that they were brachiators as well. But what made this even more unbelievable was the fact that when they dated these species, all of those features made it, initially they thought that it would be much older than it was, but when they dated it, the results came back to 200,000 years ago. That is very, very early, very, very late for something that we'd see with this for this suite of features. So yeah, this rocked the paleoanthropological and archaeological community. This was like a bombshell discovery, and it really made the community reassess our understanding of the human family tree. And what even made it even more unbelievable is the fact that when they were digging or excavating in this cave, they didn't find any other zooarchaeological remains, so there were no other animal bones but this species of human, which suggests that the chamber to this cave system was blocked off when these remains were deposited, which suggests, or he suggests, that it could be suggestive of them depositing their dead. He's basically suggesting that they could have been burying their dead, and I mean, we can't even agree if Neanderthals buried their dead yet. And those guys had big brains and are a lot of complex behavior. So yeah. So that raised a few eyebrows for quite a lot of people. Until there's more evidence, we can't say much more beyond that. But yeah, very unbelievable, very cool stuff, if you ask me. But I'll stop rambling on about that and we'll move on to the next prompt. So the next one is Spread Book Joy, a book that makes you happy. So I chose Aisha at Last for this by Uzma Jalaluddin. Sorry about the pronunciation of the name. This is basically a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. And I really enjoyed this. I thought it was clever, I thought it was witty, I loved the main characters. It was a wholesome love story, but I thought it was unique enough from the original to be, it was enjoyable on its own. There were obvious nods to Pride and Prejudice, but there was a lot in this book that made it unique and different enough from Pride and Prejudice just to be a wonderful clever book in its own right. So yeah. And I am cheating because I did choose this book for the next prompt as well. I don't tend to read a lot of books that are heavy on dialogue. While I am showing you quite a lot of fiction, I don't tend to read a lot of fiction, period. But I, as I say, thought that this was a very witty book. I loved the characters in this. I thought there was some very witty conversation in this. So yeah, Book Chat with Pat, great book with dialogue. I am choosing this book as well. And finally, Roving Reader, a book that is set in multiple countries or lands. So for this, I chose Norman Davis, Vanished Kingdoms. So this looks at all of the different kingdoms where some of them we don't have a lot of textual evidence or any textual evidence at all. So for instance, I think I'll include there's chapters on the Burgundian Kingdom, the Duchy of Burgundy, the Three Burgundies. There's a lot of Burgundy in here. The County of Burgundy. We've got Lotharingia, the Kingdom of Provence, the Old North, Viking invasions, Firth of Clyde, Kingdom of Tolosa. So a lot of places set over, a lot of time periods as well. I thought this was great. I love this book. So yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to do the bonus prompt, a book that matches your own channel, since I already did not 1, not 2, but 3 for mine. But anyways, I tag everyone to do this. This was a fantastic tag and I really enjoyed it. So Erin, thank you again for this. And if you have made it to the end of the video, well done. I'm gonna go eat now. So everyone, enjoy your day, enjoy your week, and until next time, bye for now.